When King Jaehaerys I Targaryen's son and heir Prince Aemon died in 92 AC, Jaehaerys chose Aemon's younger brother Prince Balon as his heir, passing over Aemon's daughter Princess Rhaenys. However, Prince Balon died as well in 101 AC, while serving as the Hand of the King, leaving behind him two sons, Viserys and Daemon. The old king once again needed an heir. With Jaehaerys I in decline and unable to choose his new heir after Balon's death, a great council was held in 101 AC at Harrenhal to determine who would succeed him. Aemon's daughter Rhaenys was a candidate, as were her children Laenor and Laena Velaryon. But the council ruled in favor of Viserys I, given that he was Balon's heir, and Jaehaerys had favored Balon over his granddaughter Rhaenys. And so the old king named Viserys his heir, the new Prince of Dragonstone, and upon the old king's death Viserys became a new king. House Targaryen was at its most powerful during Viserys' time, having the most members and dragons since the Doom of Valyria. Viserys was known as the Young King when he ascended the throne. Holding a court with Queen Aemma Ren, the young king was determined to maintain the peace and goodwill of his grandfather Jaehaerys the Wise. They had a son who died in infancy, and a daughter, Princess Rhaenyra, who was 6 when her father became a king. The princess became his royal cupbearer at the age of 8, and was always by her father's side at feasts, balls and tourneys. Rhaenyra was dubbed the realm's delight. Viserys' younger brother, Prince Daemon Targaryen, one of the most dangerous men in the Seven Kingdoms, considered himself his brother's heir, and coveted the little Prince of Dragonstone. While Viserys loved Daemon the rogue prince despite his flaws, he had no wish for Daemon to succeed him. Viserys was hopeful that his wife would give him a son soon, and settle the succession issue. Viserys appointed his brother on the small council, but the rivalry between Daemon and the Hand of the King, Sir Otto Hightower, became so great that Viserys in early 104 AC appointed Daemon to be commander of the City Watch, to remove Daemon from the small council. Fearful of Daemon becoming a king, Otto tried to convince Viserys to make Rhaenyra his heir. Viserys refused, as he was confident he and his wife would one day have a son. Aemma later became pregnant, to the king's delight. In 105 AC, Aemma died in labor, birthing the king's son and heir, whom Viserys named Balon after his late father, Prince Balon. But the infant died a day after Aemma. While the king was mourning, his brother Daemon was observed making drunken japes with his company about the heir for a day. When the word of this reached the grieving Viserys, his grief turned to rage. After, when the mourning period was over, Viserys held a lavish ceremony in 105 AC, and had Rhaenyra declared the heir and princess of Dragonstone, in response to his ungrateful brother's ambitions. Hundreds of lords and landed knights swore fealty to the princess and swore solemn oaths to defend her rights of succession. Daemon left the capital in a fury. Viserys began to groom Princess Rhaenyra to be the ruling queen, teaching her how to rule, and made her part of his small council. Since Viserys was not yet 30, Grand Maester was the first to urge him to remarry, and so he did to Alicent Hightower, the 18-year-old daughter of Sir Otto Hightower, his Hand of the King. Viserys and Alicent married in 106 AC. Rhaenyra and Alicent at first got on well, but that soon changed. When Daemon and House Velaryon fought a war for control over the Stepstones against the Triarchy, the peaceful Viserys was unperturbed. The fertile Alicent bore a healthy son, Aegon, in 107 AC. A daughter, Helena, followed in 109 AC, and another son named Aemond was born in 110 AC. The good relations between Queen Alicent and Princess Rhaenyra soon ended, as both desired to be the realm's first lady, and there could only be one. Although Alicent had given Viserys male heirs, the king did nothing to change the order of succession, as he considered the matter already settled by naming Rhaenyra in his will. Otto Hightower tried to pursue the king to change his heir from Rhaenyra to Aegon, so much that Viserys sent him back to Old Town, bestowing the position of Hand of Lionel Strong. Two parties began to form at court. The Queen's party consisted of powerful lords friendly to Alicent and supportive of the rights of her sons. Against, that was the party of the princess, those who supported Rhaenyra as heir. In 111 AC, a great tourney was held at King's Landing, on the 5th anniversary of Viserys' marriage to Alicent. During the opening feast, Queen Alicent wore a green gown, while Princess Rhaenyra dressed in the red and black of House Targaryen. The note was taken, and soon all of Rhaenyra's supporters started wearing black clothing, while all of Alicent's followers started wearing green. Over the years, the popular names applied to both factions were inspired by the colors they wore. Rhaenyra's supporters were called the Blacks, and Aegon II's supporters were called the Greens. The tourney also saw the return to the court of Prince Daemon, who reconciled with Viserys offering him the crown he claimed, while fighting for the Stepstones. But 6 months later, Daemon was exiled again from King's Landing. While the Grand Maester Ransighter claimed the two brothers simply got into a fight, it was rumored that Daemon took Rhaenyra's virginity, and at the hand of the king counseled the furious King Viserys that Daemon should be executed for treason. Septon Eustace reminded the council about the taint of kingslaying, thus Daemon was exiled instead. Viserys hated conflict, and made repeated attempts to cease the hostilities between the Greens and the Blacks, with many fights and false apologies issued on both sides. He loved his wife and daughter equally, but they only loved each other when he commanded. So long as Viserys ruled, peace prevailed in the Seven Kingdoms. In 113 AC, Viserys decided it was time for his daughter Rhaenyra to wed. Queen Alicent wanted the princess to wed her eldest son Aegon, so he could one day be a king. Viserys would not hear of it, as Aegon was 10 years Rhaenyra's junior, and the two had never got on well. The king and council chose Laenor Velaryon to wed Rhaenyra to regain the friendship between the Iron Throne and Velaryons. Rhaenyra, however, protested the match, stating Laenor would prefer her half-brothers instead of her. Rhaenyra yielded only after Viserys threatened that if she did not accept the marriage, he would change the succession. So in 114 AC, a reluctant Rhaenyra wed Sir Laenor, although it's questioned if the marriage was ever consummated. Laenor spent most of his time on Driftmark, surrounded by handsome squires, and infrequently visited Rhaenyra on Dragonstone. Later the same year, Rhaenyra gave birth to her first son, Jaehaerys Velaryon. However, due to the babe not having the traditional Valyrian features of either of his parents, Laenor and Rhaenyra both had light silver gold hair and purple eyes. Rumors spread that the child's real father was her lover Sir Harwin Strong, the strongest man in Westeros called Breakbones, and Rhaenyra's sworn shield who resided with her on Dragonstone. Queen Alicent bore a third son, Daeron, to King Viserys the same year. Viserys got two more grandsons years later by Rhaenyra, Lucerys Velaryon born in 115 AC and Joffrey Velaryon in 117 AC. All three of Rhaenyra's children had pug noses, brown hair and brown eyes, further spreading the belief throughout the kingdom that the children's real sire was Sir Harwin Strong. The Greens were the ones who sparked this rumor, often calling them Strongs. Prince Daemon and his wife Laena Velaryon had twin daughters named Baela and Rhaena. The brothers Daemon and Viserys reconciled a second time, and with the blessing of the king, Princess Rhaenyra betrothed Jaehaerys and Lucerys to Baela and Rhaena. The year 120 AC became known as the Year of the Red Spring, because of its many deaths and accidents. Laena Velaryon, the wife of Prince Daemon Targaryen, died after a failed birth. At her funeral, a quarrel broke out between Aemon Targaryen and the sons of Rhaenyra, who were accused of being bastards from House Strong. Aemon lost an eye, and Lucerys defended Jaehaerys with a knife. The false apologies from the families of Rhaenyra and Alicent fooled no one but Viserys. The king issued an edict that anyone spreading the Strong rumor would lose their tongue, and ordered Sir Harwin Strong to depart from Dragonstone to Harrenhal. Afterwards, a massive fire at Harrenhal killed Harwin and his father Lionel, the hand of the king. While some blamed it on the curse of Harrenhal, others whispered that Daemon, Lord Corlys Velaryon, and even Viserys were responsible for the blaze. The king recalled Sir Otto Hightower as the king's hand. The year also saw the death of Rhaenyra's husband, Laenor Velaryon, killed in a fight between his companion and lover, Sir Carl Corey, who many whisper was hired by Daemon to do so. Rhaenyra and Daemon shocked the realm by wedding without Viserys' knowledge, a huge scandal, as neither Laena nor Laenor had been dead for 6 months. It made Viserys furious. It took some time before Viserys and Daemon reconciled. The year ended with Rhaenyra and Daemon welcoming the birth of their first son, Prince Aegon the Younger. Another son born in 122 AC was given the name Viserys after Rhaenyra's father, King Viserys himself. Rhaenyra's sons by Daemon and all had Targaryen features. The forced closeness of Rhaenyra's and Alicent's children increased animosity between the Blacks and the Greens. The royal children and grandchildren became dragon riders, and court visitors observed the dragons of one faction snapping and spitting flames at the dragons of the other party. Viserys died on the third day of the third moon of 129 AC, during a nap in the Red Keep of King's Landing. On his deathbed, he refused to change the succession, and decreed his heir to be Rhaenyra. He was found dead by a servant, who first went to Alicent to inform her of Viserys' death, which proved to be a grave mistake, as Alicent proclaimed Aegon the king over the wishes of Viserys. At the time of her father's death, Rhaenyra was on Dragonstone. The Greens in King's Landing ensured that the news of Viserys' death did not reach her, until her own supporters in the Red Keep were dead or imprisoned, and Aegon II's coronation had already occurred. King Viserys decreed Rhaenyra to succeed him, but Aegon the Elder, the eldest son of his second wife Alicent, was instead crowned Aegon II by Sir Criston Cole, the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. This led to a civil war between Rhaenyra and Aegon, the Dance of the Dragons, the devastating civil war that tore apart the Seven Kingdoms. The war lasted for 3 years, and by the time it came to an end, thousands were dead. Nearly all of the Targaryen dragons had been killed, as well as many Targaryens themselves. King Viserys I will be the main character in the first season, and upon his death, the realm will explode into a massive civil war between the Blacks and the Greens, the Targaryen civil war known as the Dance of the Dragons. 20 major battles, even more smaller battles, and even more betrayals, turncloaks and twists. All of that and more this Game of Thrones prequel show House of the Dragon brings in 2022. Let me know your thoughts about everything, the prequel, its characters, especially King Viserys, in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.